Live from Nevada, this is Hiram Garcia here today to discuss the 2018 midterm elections for Nevada. Joining us live today here in Nevada are political scientists Perla Aguirre and Alicia Ramirez, both of whom are going to help us today understand the Senate race between incumbent Dean Heller and challenger Jackie Rosen. All right, so how do you see the history of Nevada impacting this election?
So it's very important to get a very holistic picture of Nevada's political landscape, which was dominated by the Republican Party from the 60s to the 80s, but it's now a swing state and has maintained that status for a while now. But in 2016, the state voted for Hillary Clinton and Democrat Catherine Monceau for the Senate seat. The Democratic Party also gained control of the Nevada Senate and Assembly. So they also currently have a Republican governor, Brian Sandoval, who's also on the ballot. So the question is, will we see the Democratic Party control the whole Nevada government, or will we see Republican pushback from those results?
Could you guys provide a little bit more of the candidates' backgrounds and what some issues you referred to are?
Yeah, sure. So Republican incumbent Dean Heller was appointed to fill the seat back in 2010, and now he's actually the GOP's most endangered incumbent. Before announcing his run for re-election, it was rumored that he was eyeing a gubernatorial run. However, he now stands neck and neck with challenger Jackie Rosen, the current representative of Nevada's 3rd Congressional House District. The two are both equally qualified for the role, but the question is, can Rosen give the electorate a valid enough reason as to why to fire Heller, the incumbent?
Taking all this into consideration, as well as some recent polling, what are your predictions?
So I believe Heller will win by a very slim margin. His last election, he won by 1.2 percentage points. But by the virtue of being an incumbent alone, we think he has the real advantage. So Trump hosted a rally for him recently in Elko, and Vice President Pence has also shown out for him. But Jackie Rosen has also brought out the Democratic big guns on her behalf, such as Obama and Biden. So it's really close.
Yeah, I definitely agree. According to a few polls, Heller's predicted to win, but by a very small margin of 2 to 7 points. However, Rosen does definitely still have a fighting chance. Nevada was hit really hard by the 2008 Great Recession, and Rosen has been trying to build her platform upon Heller's desire to repeal Obamacare. And actually, on the last debate that they had, Rosen told Heller to look into the camera and tell a family he met last year why he broke his promise to protect people with pre-existing conditions. With all that, it's sure to be close, but I feel as if Heller will ultimately pull through in a narrow 1.5 victory over Rosen.
Here with us now are two political scientists, Chris Herrera and Wilfredo Vasquez, two very prominent political scientists that will help us understand Nevada's 3rd District House race. Chris, now we have a good idea of the history of Nevada. Can you tell us how you think that'll impact this House race, and what are your predictions?
Sure. Well, Nevada being a swing state means this election will be extremely close. As Perla had mentioned, these races are heavily based on issues, and many of Susie Lee's policy stances reflect the interest in Nevada voters, like being pro-choice and providing a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. And there are more registered Democrats in this district than Republicans, but voter turnout amongst the parties determine these very slim margins. And this is reflected in the Emerson poll that currently has Lee up by 2 points against Republican Daniel Tarkanian. Tarkanian's chances are also decreased when you consider Trump's approval ratings, which hit 40% this past week. And we know that the president's party loses more seats when they have low approval rating, so Tarkanian turning District 3 red becomes very unlikely. For my prediction, I predict that Lee will defeat Tarkanian by a margin of 2.2 points.
Now, for Will, could you add any additional insight, and also can you give us your very own prediction of this race?
Well, I believe Susie is going to win this race. Right? Currently, the Democrats have a 9-point lead in generic ballot across the country, and what that factors into this race, which is a very competitive race, it's about 50-50, let's say, in both Democrats and Republicans. That means that a lot of these close races are going to go for the Democrats. If they already have a big lead in the generic ballot across the country, that means all these 50-50, 51-49, 49-51 races are kind of a lead for the Democrats. So I believe Susie Lee is going to win 51-49, and I also believe that there's going to be a lot of turnout in women and as well as minorities and young voters in Nevada are going to turn out, and that's very good news for the Democrats. That doesn't mean in any way that the Tarkarian, that the Republican, is out of the race. You can see a late surge of Republican voters on election day. They could swing the race for him.
Wow, thank you so much. This undoubtedly is one of the most interesting elections in the entire country. Now, please tune in next time when we give an in-depth analysis of the results and what those results mean for every one of us here in this country.